I've got news to share on the locations for next year's Royal Rumble and SummerSlam. It looks like they are going to be joining WrestleMania and Money in the Bank as stadium shows. WrestleMania, of course, is going to be back in Dallas at AT&T Stadium. Money in the Bank will be at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, where SummerSlam was held this year. Boy, poor Survivor Series. Getting the short end of the stick here. Never gets any stadium love. All of these shows get stadium love, big domes, but never Survivor Series. For those of you wondering where in the pecking order Survivor Series ranks, this should give you a sense. But WWE announced that the 2022 Royal Rumble will take place on Saturday night. It's a Saturday Night Rumble, January 29th from the Dome at America's Center in St. Louis, Missouri. AEW took the Full Gear pay-per-view away from St. Louis, and here comes WWE to the rescue with a Royal Rumble. They can fit over 40,000 in there for basketball games and well over 60,000 for football games. So that gives you a range of what they're looking at. Probably in the 50 to 60,000 range. The stadium rumbles have been fun the past few years from baseball stadiums. This is a little bit different, but it is a huge venue. It's going to be on a Saturday because the NFC and AFC championship games are that Sunday. And they do not want any of the NFL playoffs. So Friday, October 15th at 11 a.m. Eastern is the ticket on sale date if you want to try to nab a ticket to the Royal Rumble. I've been to a couple of Royal Rumbles before. One in Madison Square Garden back in 2008. That was the one where John Cena made the big surprise comeback at number 30. And that was a lot of fun. It's always fun to be there and count down and everything. I was in Orlando for the one in 2016 that came down to Triple H and Dean Ambrose. A lot of people turned their back on Triple H when the match was over and he won. Literally turned around and turned their back. But that was fun. That was the night that AJ Styles made his debut in the Royal Rumble match. And TalkSport is reporting that WWE is looking to bring its first major show to the United Kingdom in 30 years next year. Likely for SummerSlam. 30 years after SummerSlam 1992 was held at Wembley Stadium. I cannot tell you how many emails I have gotten over the years that I have been doing this podcast, asking me if WWE is ever going to bring another big event like WrestleMania or SummerSlam back to the UK. Are they ever going to come back? They have not been back since 92 for a major pay-per-view. They've had other events, they've had UK-only shows, but never a major pay-per-view like one of the big four, one of the big five, which is hard to believe considering they put 80,000 people in that stadium that year, which no longer exists. The original Wembley was demolished almost 20 years ago. That pay-per-view aired on a delay here in the States. It aired 2 days later. The time zone difference scared them off from doing another one, and that was before the internet. So imagine now, how skittish they would be to do a show that is taped, 24 hours beforehand or however long beforehand, where spoilers and photos and videos can more easily leak. You didn't have that issue in 92. And it's still part of what scared them off after that from doing another one, but it looks like this might finally be happening. Triple H was just quoted in April. It wasn't that long ago. It was earlier this year. He was quoted in The Sun, and I know it's The Sun. I know it's garbage, but he was interviewed, and he claimed the reason they haven't gone back to the UK for a major show is because it didn't make any money. He claimed that SummerSlam 92 did not make the company any money, any real money. So I wonder what changed. He just said this in April. What changed between then and now? Based on this report, it does not sound like the new Wembley Stadium is the leading candidate. It is a candidate. It is a possibility. The new Wembley has a capacity of about 90,000. The leading contender, though, seems to be Cardiff's Principality Stadium, which has a retractable roof, which is very attractive to them and can fit over 70,000 people. But this is not a done deal. This is not anything that is near the finish line. It is said to be in the discussion stage, the exploration phase. Vince McMahon is playing the role of Ferdinand Magellan. He is exploring. But, with the network, things are very different now than they used to be. Now they have Saturday shows. They have Saudi Arabia shows that air in the U.S. at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday, like the next one coming up in a few weeks. So, there really is no excuse for them not to do another big UK show. They have some of the loudest, most passionate fans in the world over there. I think of the UK fans the way I think of the fans up in Canada. And when they're starved for a major event and WWE goes in there, those fans are as loud can be. The energy, it's great. It makes for a great atmosphere. Now imagine how starved that the UK crowd is going to be for a show like this. How loud they'll probably be for that show. Now on the AEW side, the Full Gear pay-per-view next month that was originally scheduled for St. Louis on November 6th will now be taking place 1 week later from the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota, as will Rampage the night before, which I will not be reviewing live that night since I'll be at the House of Glory show. But Rampage will be there the night before as well. The reason they moved the pay-per-view, they want nothing to do with the Canelo Alvarez fight or the UFC pay-per-view from Madison Square Garden on the 6th. And I don't blame them. I would have done the same thing. I know people in St. Louis were very upset who bought tickets and everything, but if I were Tony Khan and I booked this show and only after the fact that I realized, oh shit, there's a big boxing fight and a big UFC show that night, I would have done the exact same thing and moved the show right out of there. And they'll have more tickets to sell because the Target Center is a bigger building than the Chaifetz Arena, which can fit around 10,000. In the Target Center, it's an NBA building, so they could probably fit, I would guess with the stage and the setup and everything, they could probably get a good 15,000 people in that building. Now on Twitter, a fan replied to AEW's tweet about tickets going on sale for Full Gear, and this person suggested that they host Dynamite the week after from the Mall of America, which is in Minnesota. The Mall of America, I believe, is in Bloomington. And whoever runs the Mall of America Twitter account responded and said, we're all for it. It worked great the first time. AEW brings the fire. And look, I'm all for unique venues. I would love to see Dynamite or Rampage, or both, 1 week from the Mall of America. You just know Darby Allin would be doing a coffin drop from one level up down to the ring. I'm sure they can make good use of the environment there. So I'm all for it if they can pull it off. It's just too bad the power of Pastamania is not there anymore, like it was when Nitro ran there in 95. And you remember last week I talked about how I would love to see AEW book the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City for a show. I just talked about this last week, and it looks like they may have been beaten to the punch by GCW. Owner Brett Lauderdale posted a photo on his Twitter account this week from an ECW show back in the day at the Hammerstein. No context, no caption, just a picture. PW Insider inquired with the venue about this, and they did say they have no wrestling shows scheduled on the calendar, but they did confirm that a wrestling promotion, they wouldn't say which one, did a site survey recently at the building. It doesn't look like it was AEW, though, if this tweet means anything. More and more, I look at the wrestling landscape as it is right now. You've got WWE, and you've got AEW as the big two. Basically, it's like WWF and WCW back in the day. And the closest thing to what ECW used to be is GCW. They do an incredible job of getting people talking about them online with their shows. And their next one is coming up this Saturday with Jon Moxley defending the GCW title against Nick Gage. And Mick Foley is going to be there to present the GCW title before the main event. They are completely sold out for the show in Atlantic City. The only way to watch it is live on Fight TV. And they have just done, I think, again, an incredible job of creating a buzz around their brand and around their company and packing in houses in these small venues. But a lot of people, more and more people, have been talking about GCW and, recognizing, what is this GCW thing, and checking out their shows. So there's a certain buzz in the air for them that does remind me a lot of ECW when they were on the rise back in the mid-90s. And MLW held its Fightland show last night at the old ECW Arena, speaking of ECW, which is now called the 2300 Arena in Philly. There was a big main event with Jacob Fatu 819 days deep into his reign as the MLW World Champion, defending his title against the MLW National Openweight Champion Alex Hammerstone, title for title. I will not spoil anything. I will not give away any of the match results here. The match is not going to air until this Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern on Vice. I heard great things about it, but what caught my eye the most, and I don't think I'm not aware of this airing this week on TV, but what caught my eye the most was the MLW debut at these tapings of Carly Perez, Katrina, from Lucha Underground, once again managing Mil Muertes, who now goes by the name King Muertes. They have been reunited again. They are going to be part of the Azteca Underground programming that MLW is doing, which is what they brought Dario Cueto in for, who now goes by the name of Cesar Duran. They can't use any of the old names because they don't own them, but this is the closest thing to a Lucha Underground revival that we're ever going to get. So that was very cool. I saw some pictures pop up online of Carly. I guess that's the name she's going to go by. Saw the pictures of her and Muertes together, and it just filled my heart with joy to see them reunited again. It's very cool.